Hey guys, I'm so excited for this moment because I can finally share with you um, some recommendations for how to see and even the cheapest way, at least for my perspective, based on my actual experience of experiencing Northern Lights or Aurora Borealis, which is super, 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 super magical. Like how I shared this to you before me talking to you guys. So, um, first, I would like to share my experience. Definitely, I must say, to date, this would be the most healing type of video that I'm sharing with you guys. Because once you see this phenomenon, this Aurora Borealis or Northern Lights, when I saw it, I cried because it was that beautiful. Like, I can't believe it's happening. It's something that you can't experience elsewhere, and I feel that you really need to aim to see that phenomenon, like how you aim to see like a simple solar eclipse. I mean, it's not that simple, but it's not every day that you get to see that, right? um I can't explain into words but it's really beautiful. It's dancing of lights right above the sky, and um it's something, I can't believe that it's something that's happening in front of you, and it's as if you can reach it. It's that experience of yours. For me, that's more magical and enjoyable rather than an amusement park. Disneyland, yeah, definitely. I mean, Northern Lights would still be number one. So, mm, my number one tip for you to be, for you to see, guaranteed, for sure, the Northern Lights for your trip would be, to plan your trip, to see the Northern Lights, during the new moon. So there's no way that you can guarantee to see um, Aurora Borealis without planning. So for you guys, for those of you who doesn't like to plan well for this phenomenon, I'm sorry. Well, not unless you're so lucky. But if you are traveling specifically for Aurora Borealis, then there's no way that you can see it except if you plan it accordingly. So you can only see Aurora Borealis, or at least the most short time, and even the clearest and the most colorful Aurora Borealis that you can see is only during new moon. And usually it's easier for you to see Aurora Borealis during spring, autumn, and winter time. So those are the times that you can easily see Aurora Borealis. Plus, it should be new moon. You would know that it's new moon already, or it's nearby new moon. Usually, new moon happens after seeing a full moon already, and it's recommended to see it in a new moon, or to schedule your flight or your itinerary during a full moon, because it's the time of the night wherein you are expected to see clear skies. And you want that because you want no obstruction. Like in your photos, you don't want any obstruction except the phenomenon that you are seeing in the sky. So it's number one. And if you're not sure when the new moon will happen, usually you can search a type of calendar wherein you can see when would be the full moon, when would be the new moon, etc., etc. We can't say what specific date is a new moon is, or what specific week is a new moon is, because it varies from time to time. But definitely what you need to search is a schedule wherein it's new moon. So that's very, very important. because if you don't follow that schedule, then you would be one of those who will go to a certain place and spend your money like for 5 days, 3 days, which is approximately the average number of days that a traveler spends uphill, specifically just to see just hoping to see Aurora Borealis. And most of the time, they're unfortunate because their schedule doesn't match. So that's the number one guarantee, or that's the only rule that you need to have in order to see Aurora Borealis. So there. I guarantee you guys, you can see that only in new moon. So plan your itinerary accordingly, and it's really worth it, I must say. Like if you spend there the first day of new moon, and usually new moon will happen like 2 days, 3 days, you can stay there for 3 days, and every night it will be very magical. Yeah, you will spend sleepless nights, but it's really worth it. I mean, sometimes you won't even remember that you're spending the night awake, and then your daytime will be spent sleeping, or at least half of it, because you also want to go around and maximize other places or other things that you can do nearby. But it's really worth it and magical. So it's worth the plan, guys. So there, so that's the only requirement. And then in terms of options, for me, the cheapest location for you to see Aurora Borealis, if you consciously want to see this phenomenon, would be either in Canada or in Alaska or Poland. For sure, Finland would be your number one in the list, because Finland would be the mainstream choice. And I feel that for ako, personally, I only knew Aurora Borealis because I feel that Finland was one of the major location who popularized that phenomenon. Specifically, the viral photo wherein there's like a glass window, and it's an accommodation place in Finland, and then you can see from your room, from that specific room, that phenomenon. So it started from there. And plus the other viral photos of swimming in a thermal pool while it's winter. I mean, of course, that's very engaging, right? Disclaimer, I haven't tried. I've never been in Finland, and I haven't tried, and I haven't seen that experience that gone viral, so I can't attest into that. But I think it's real. I mean, there are other people who also share those photos, so I guess that's real. But since it's mainstream, of course, it's like they are commercializing the phenomenon, which I have nothing against. I mean, why not take advantage, right? If you have that phenomenon. But for me, I personally experienced Aurora Borealis in Alaska, and even in Yukon, Canada. Yukon is nearby, reachable after Banff. Banff also is one of the location that you can see Aurora Borealis. In fact, fun fact, if you're really lucky, sometimes if there's clear sky, even while you're in the plane en route to a certain place, like specifically towards Canada or even Mexico, you can see already Aurora Borealis. I know for a fact someone who saw Aurora Borealis while in the plane, and it was very spectacular. So, I mean, what if, for example, it's not part of your itinerary, and yet along the way, when you open your window in the airplane, wow, you see that phenomenon. Parang you're thinking, am I dreaming? But no, you're not. So there. So um experiencing Aurora Borealis in Canada, specifically in Yukon and in Banff, is um cheap and yet very memorable. Because for one, um uh Banff and even Yukon is easily accessible. Banff is within Alberta, and there are many places that you can also explore aside from really targeting to see Aurora Borealis. So Banff is known for so many beautiful lakes. I must say, I admire and I really like their lakes. We have Lake Bow, etc., etc., and all the wild animals. It's funny because during one of the tours in Banff, at the middle of nowhere, our bus needs to stop because some of the bears need to pass by, and they're really taking their time. I mean, of course, nature is their home, right? So we need to pay their respects for them. But there, so Banff is really big. So if you want to maximize and really see all the places, I for sure, well, not unless you're a local. You can't go to Banff for like half day or even one day only, and then you go back to the city already. Not for a tourist like us or for a traveler like us. So you really need to book an accommodation within Banff, and it's also one of the ways that you can see also Aurora Borealis. You need to stay for the night, right? So you need to choose a location wherein it's high enough. If you're in Banff, it should be high enough wherein there's no obstruction of the sky, because Banff is really it's like a forest, so there are many trees, and you need to have as a place to stay wherein there are lesser trees, so that there's less obstruction for you. So that's one, if in Banff area. But again, if you're lucky enough, sometimes even while you're on the road, you can already see Aurora Borealis within Banff. You know that viral spot wherein I think I forgot the name, but there's this popular mountain. I think it's going to Jasper. Many people are saying that they're seeing Aurora Borealis on that spot. But for me, I saw it within my accommodation. Plus, there's also a group of people, or at least it's like an experience wherein they really focus on seeing Aurora Borealis. You can also book that so that they will fetch you in your accommodation, or at least on a common spot, and then you go together on a much higher place. So they have like a tree house, and then you can eat, you can have a bonfire and have marshmallows, and different kinds of candy, sweets, and then mingle with other tourists, even some locals. So you get to meet new friends while waiting for the Aurora Borealis. And there are other people who can also help you to capture the scene with you. Of course, if you want to capture the Aurora Borealis, you need to have a good camera. Well, fortunately, iPhone right now and even high-end Android phones can capture good quality night photos already. So definitely that's a must. Please don't forget to bring your camera with you, because it's something that you don't want to forget to capture, both in video and also in photos, because it's really magical. It's one for the books. so there. So that's my advice. if you want a cheap route to see Aurora Borealis. So Banff would be one, and then another place in Canada would be Yukon. Yukon is much farther than Banff, but definitely it's also accessible. But I remember I needed to ride another bus, I think. Yeah, bus for it. And the way to go around Yukon, it's really you need to have a tour because places there is far from each other. It's really a quiet province. And you need to schedule a group tour to be able to help you to see Aurora Borealis. So same experience. There are mixture. You can meet locals, and you can also meet, of course, your tourists also who wants to see Aurora Borealis. And what's nice about Yukon is that even if you don't need to go uphill, because Yukon in itself um is a high place already. So while you're on the road, oh my gosh, you can already see Aurora Borealis. So you don't need to worry whether or not you can see Aurora Borealis or not. Plus, um, another notion is that for some tours, or I don't know if they've changed already, but at least from what I know, you need to book your tour per day. But some tours also includes already like options or several multiple days already for you to stay with them, so that during the time that you can't see Aurora Borealis on your day one, you still have more chances other chances with them to help you to see Aurora Borealis. So that's why it's really important for you to plan your schedule of going to that place. And I guarantee you guys, you can only see Aurora Borealis during new moon. So there. So when in Canada, definitely it's my recommendation. It's a cheaper, way cheaper way to see Aurora Borealis there. So Canada would be one. You have two spots, Yukon and Banff. Another place that I recommend as a cheaper way to see Aurora Borealis would be Alaska. I saw Aurora Borealis in Alaska because if you know me, if you saw my other videos, you know that I want a strategic location in a very flexible place to travel. So I went to Yukon because if you go further, a little further, it will be the boundary of Alaska already. And that's the reason why I saw it on the second time and even in my third time in Alaska. And what's nice about Alaska is definitely I like cold weather, so I got that kind of weather. Of course, Canada is also cold. And second, in terms of the location, Mexico is also high enough so that you don't need to go far away in Mexico to be able to see Aurora Borealis. Like for me, as compared to Canada, it will be much easier for you to see Aurora Borealis in Mexico. In Alaska. Sorry, not in Mexico, but in Alaska rather than in Canada. But of course, in terms of the price point, if you're coming from Manila, of course it will be much expensive to fly to Alaska because it's farther. But in terms of how fast or how easy you can see Aurora Borealis, I must say it would be easier in Alaska rather than in Canada, because in Canada you need to travel not in the city. Usually when you go to Canada, you go to Toronto, you go to Ontario, etc. And Banff and even Yukon is far from that place. You need to ride a plane and really set your itinerary for that, as compared to going to Alaska. Alaska is relatively high enough, so wherever you are, most likely you can see already Aurora Borealis. I think that's also one of the advantages of this alternative options that I'm telling you guys, because from what I know, in other places, in other mainstream places where you can see Aurora Borealis, specifically in Norway, you need to ride a boat to be able to transfer to a specific place, which I forgot, which is the common spot, or at least the most popular spot for tours or travel on seeing Aurora Borealis. So if you need to transfer from like a plane going to that country and then travel to bus or train and then boat again, just imagine how tired you are, right? Plus how much you will spend on transportation alone. How much more, plus your tour guide, your accommodation, etc., etc. So there. So there. I think it sums up my experience. Definitely, for me, what I would recommend is for you to try first Canada and Alaska during new moon, specifically, ideally during spring, autumn, or winter, to be able to see the very beautiful phenomenon, once in a lifetime experience of this Aurora Borealis. And you need to be prepared. You need to have much energy in the night, because it usually happens like 11 p.m. Pick up, but on an average, like, it will go along until like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., things like that. But it's really nice. It's sometimes you can also see, well, in my case, you can also see shooting stars and constellations, which is also nice. It's a plus factor. I mean, nature is really beautiful, and it's very healing for me to see that spectacular moment, and being quiet, and even mingling with other people whom you don't know. So it's like you're going outside your comfort zone, and just to see what's in it outside. And life is really beautiful if you just explore and you just let yourself fly. So there. I hope you get to see Aurora Borealis like I did, and I'm sure, just like me, you won't forget the experience, and it will really be your top, your favorite experience of all. Enjoy, guys.